Hey there, lovely souls. Hope you're all doing well. I wanted to just drop in and discuss the energies of the moment and how this may be coming out for you. So we are going through the process of a full moon, a very powerful supermoon, and without going into the astrology, which isn't really my bag, we've got Jupiter, we've got Saturn, we've got quite a lot of planets influencing us. And so how I see this is about boundaries. Big thing about boundaries right now, which for health is ultimately always that. So, you know, healthy boundaries are about discernment, expression, so a lot about the throat chakra. It's about being able to establish that, to be able to say no, that no is a sentence in itself, and how we can discern what is pure for us and what is ours and what is not ours. So we, especially as children, have absorbed so many patterns. I mean, our brains are in theta wave when we're growing up, so things just literally just get right subliminally right into our neural system, into our brains, in our belief systems and our patterns that we aren't even conscious of, and that would have been inherited from their parents, your grandparents, and thereafter, basically all these old conditionings and patterns, not let alone with what comes through us in our blood, in our DNA, in our epigenetics, especially through the matriarchal line, through our mothers, and for women as well, that comes through our ovaries, so we carry that on from ourselves and to our children. And with men, it's the mitochondria. So we receive our mitochondria, which is the intelligence within our body, the bacteria, that actually brings in personality. And actually, most interestingly, I've understood recently, is that actually you can go through the DNA in much more detail through the matriarchal line than you can the blood. So not the masculine, not through the male, it's through the feminine. So, and so much trauma has been carried through this. If you look at women on their own in terms of what they have endured in terms of abuse and suppression, which creates a rage within our bodies, because it's unexpressed anger, because underneath that anger is the part of ourselves saying, I deserve better, I'm worthy of so much more. And when you deny your anger consciously, you deny that self-worth, that aspect of yourself that is calling to be loved and to be honoured and respected. So these multiple things will be coming up. So it's the boundaries, there may be anger, there'll be triggers, there'll be old childhood wounds coming up in terms of our parenting and how we've been parented. Our children may be reflecting that back to us currently, and we've been triggered by them because they are just little mirrors holding up for us to deal with our patterns that we've inherited to not continue down the line. So we have actually, as our generation has come in, to break those patterns with generational trauma and patterns of victim, martyr energy mode, of being able to wake up and to see ourselves and to see society for what it is. So as each individual lights up, so does the collective, so does society. So there's many things that will be coming through, and this full moon actually is about coming, for me, has been coming to come to a space of peace. And it's interestingly, because I've done a lot of healing work with myself, so you may feel like you're nowhere near peace when you're being triggered. I don't know why I'm laughing at that. I'm not laughing at the situation. It's just, sometimes you just can't take it too seriously because it drives you crackers. However, I would say it's having to go through the whole process of the emotions. You can't bypass anything. It's like your digestion system, okay? You cannot skip a stage in your whole organs, and our emotions are exactly the same. And we want to get to a state of peace, we have to go through, first of all, discerning, so the stomach, layers about what is ours and what is not. So if we have stomach issues, a lot of that is to do with like, well, I've absorbed something that isn't mine. So if we talk about things being rammed down your throat, taking off too much you can chew, all these sort of things, especially the ram down the throat, it would have been if it's very forceful, opinionated parents, that would have been shoved right down in you, and it's got held in your stomach because the stomach is going, well, this isn't mine to process. This is something to return. And we have to see that. And then once we recognize what is ours, then we come into the liver and we use the alchemy of fire, of anger and rage to process this. And then we come into our pancreas, which is the grief of what was and what wasn't, and the joy that sits there too, because joy and grief sit with one another. And then it's the small intestine, the discernment of what to receive and what not, and the blessings of that, which I know when I've worked through my trauma and somebody talked about the blessings of it, it's like, what the fuck? How on earth can I find a blessing in this shit? And actually, when you do the process, you find that forgiveness, and then you recognize the gifts and the learning from it. Now, it doesn't ever mean that that was right. Far from it. It wasn't acceptable. But you come to a space of acceptance of it, but not to accept it, to continue that pattern. So then you can start allowing yourself to come to more peace with it. And then it's been actually with looking at those people that I feel like haven't done me right, haven't done me to the level of love that I would have wanted and be worthy of. I've actually been finding I've been doing a lot of healing for those relationships and just seeing the love for those people. Now, it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to help the relationship, because if those people aren't conscious of their behaviour, you're not supposed to be putting yourself, oh, I feel like I'm doing a disco here, you're not supposed to go back into that relationship with them. They're not conscious of the heat of the wounds that they're creating. So, you know, that's discernment and the boundaries again. However, you know, unless someone is conscious, then you can do that work, you see. Then you can have these real communication that this is making me feel, this is triggering me here. Oh, okay, I really love you and I want this relationship to work, therefore I will listen to what you have to say. And okay, now you're triggering me and this is how I'm feeling. It's not saying that's what you're doing, but you're making me feel. Okay, where does that come from? What is that? Oh, it's my childhood trauma. Oh, okay, there you are. Okay, I didn't feel worthy, I didn't feel heard, I didn't feel valued, I never felt like I was enough. All that comes up, and these are the healing that we can do, whether it's with myself or with your or on your own. There's multiple layers that we can go through and that we're going for our healing. And like I say, this full moon is about ending these patterns, these cycles, these subconscious patterns, this trauma, the victim martyr energy, the victim martyr perpetrator that was shown up to me a good year ago, and then the war started with Israel and Palestine, and you know that isn't going to conclude until the victims are prepared to forgive, and otherwise it will eventually repeat itself and then they become the perpetrator. So it's that pattern will always continue until someone is willing to break that pattern. So if you scale that right down to an individual level, we need to look at that ourselves and karmically ourselves, and as a soul, if you believe that we are energy. And you see, this is just like showing me this is all about just letting go. Okay, so let's just look at the autumn, look at how the wind is coming through, how the leaves are being released from the tree. She's letting go. Okay, she is letting go of what no longer serves you. So move into that vibe, into the autumn equinox, into this moon energy where we are given this opportunity to let go, okay, to find that freedom, to restore. So all these old patterns, all these old beliefs that are so ingrained in our unconscious body, in our subconscious mind, let them go. So you may well be being triggered, but it's showing you some old patterns to let go of, to be at peace to let go, and so you can step forwards into more joy, into more love. Okay, so I'm doing a meditation tonight to connect into this partial lunar eclipse, this moon, this ending of cycles, to start to at least be willing to find peace, to allow that process of healing to come through, and depending wherever you are on that journey, to help that move through with a little bit more ease and grace. So I'm going to be dropping the link in here after this video if it appeals to you, and then it will be recorded and uploaded onto the Infinity Health Hub, which will be in a sound library for members, which you can do as a free 7-day trial. But anyway, that's what I'll be doing this evening, sorry, at 8:30 on the Zoom. And like I say, this just activates this power that's within you of choice. When you choose to make those changes, you can start that pattern of release and that healing. So lots of love from a beautiful breezy Devon, and just go gentle with yourself. All right, lots of love.